Jurassic World Rebirth. Film number 7. Film number 7. What are the words to describe this franchise? Should have been one, maybe two movies. What are the words?
Thin, sort of stretched like butter scraped over too much bread.
None of what you just said is good.
Welcome to Durbania. I'm Durbin, and thank you so much for checking out this video. I think you could tell just from that there. Jurassic World Rebirth, not a good movie. Not at least to me. It wasn't that, it had entertaining moments, but not a great movie. Now here's kind of how I want to divide up this video. I want to talk a little bit about the film itself and give you my thoughts on it, because kind of what I'm doing here is over the summer, 2025, a lot of good movies came out. We were in production for season 6 of The Chosen. I had the time to go see the movies, but I didn't really have the time to talk in depth about the movies. So I'm trying to catch up on that. And how can I not talk about Jurassic Park? It is my favorite film of all time. So of course I got to talk about the 7th movie, as our friend Bilbo described it there, as butter scraped over too much bread. Oh man. So yeah, I want to give you my initial thoughts and review. Then I want to dive into this film theologically, because this is theologically a fascinating franchise, and I think it does have something to say about human nature, which I think does continue into this movie, as shallow as it may be. So let's dive in. First, let's check out the review. Let me just start with the few things that I did like. Number one, Gareth Edwards, the director, I think he did a good job in terms of like his visuals. Like he's always good with that. And I've heard a lot of YouTubers describe it as scale. Like he's good with scale, and truthfully, he is. Take a look at Rogue One. Like you felt the immensity of the Death Star. Or Godzilla 2014, you could feel the size of Godzilla. Like he does a great job with that. And I feel like in this movie, he did that. I think this movie has great visuals. Like the first time like the scientists are up against the mosasaur, like a lot of that scene looked really good. My favorite scene in the whole film is the Titanosaur scene. When they're in the field and all those giant Titanosaurs get up and walk around with their like whip-like tails. I don't know, like the music, it's the classic Jurassic Park music and all of that. That scene to me was beautiful and the most like Jurassic Park out of, like, oh my gosh, I can hear the music in my head right now. I'm not gonna play it here because then I'll get a copyright strike. The point is that was my favorite scene in the whole movie. That was the good nostalgia that just brought me back. Another scene I liked was the Michael Crichton book of Jurassic Park. In the novel, there's a scene where Alan Grant, Tim, and Lex, they get into a boat to escape the T-Rex, but the T-Rex just hops in the water like a crocodile and swims after them. And I liked that they took that scene and actually put it to live action in this film. The reasons why this movie just isn't strong to me. It has two plots. It has two different storylines going. You have the scientists who are going to the island on the equator in order to get the dino DNA to create the cure for heart disease, and you got a family. The dad taking his 2 daughters and the oldest daughter's boyfriend out on a boat across the illegal zone where there's dinosaurs that kill people, that every government in the world has said this whole area is closed off because everybody dies. And I just can't put myself in the dad's position to understand. Like, I get it. He wants to take his daughters out on a trip. The one daughter is going to college. Like, yes, he wants the quality time, be a good father, but taking them to death doesn't seem like, you know, the proper way to do that. So even that whole motivation kind of drives me crazy. But the fact that these two sets of characters split and we followed their two different stories on the island, they should have picked one. Pick one story over the other. And I would say go with the scientist. And the reason I would say that is this. In Jurassic Park, the first one, it made sense with Tim and Lex, with the kids being there and being in danger. It elevated the tension. It was scary, but it was organic. But every Jurassic Park movie afterwards goes, oh, it's tradition now. We got to put kids in danger. So they're picking tradition over substance, and I feel like this family exists in this movie, not for anything organic, but out of pure tradition. I think the other thing that drives me crazy about the family is the dad's injured leg. Man, when the mosasaur was attacking the boat with the scientists after they were rescued, and the dad's leg gets hurt, I winced. I mean, my gosh, it looked painful. And so it's like, this is gonna cause trouble. Like, how are they gonna move through the jungle? Like, what are they gonna do? He even yells, I can't move my leg, like in the moment. And then what does he do? He moves his leg. He walks everywhere. He walks up hills and down hills. In fact, he falls down a hill at one point and rolls and tumbles. And then he gets up and walks, which I think that's the scene that leads us to the boat. And the reason the oldest daughter needed to go get the boat and go through that whole T-Rex thing of the T-Rex swimming in the water like a crocodile is the motivation of her dad's leg. His leg is injured. We have to help him. Now look, I'll give him this. He had a stick and walked with it for a little bit. And, every once in a while I could see a little bit of a limp, but otherwise there was no tension there. I never felt like his leg was injured and that it was causing real problems. And thus they have to push through this scary experience with a Tyrannosaurus Rex, because he can't walk. Another reason there was never tension for me in this movie is Jurassic World Rebirth is a rerun. There is nothing new in this movie. Jurassic Park 1993, it pushed the boundaries of film. It was the first film to have CGI like that with those dinosaurs. It was doing something new. Every film after that was copying the first film, copy and paste. And the more copies you make, the worse it gets. The only one I give a pass to is Jurassic World. Not to say that I love that movie. As far as the sequels go, I think it's the better of the sequels. But Jurassic World Rebirth is just a complete copy and paste of everything. It's Jurassic World and the fact that the plot is it's all these new species of dinosaurs and all the genes spliced to make all that. So it's just copying Jurassic World. It's copying Jurassic Park, that we have to go to an island. We have to get stranded on that island and scary things happen. The whole film is a rerun all the way down to the final scene when they find the village and they're hiding in the gas station area with all the food and stuff like that. And the mutant pterodactyl raptors come in there. And it's just the scene from Jurassic Park 1993, where Tim and Lex are in the kitchen. So you're just seeing that repeated in this, and it doesn't have the same tension because it's I've seen it. I get what the movie was trying to do. It's going for nostalgia, and I'm not saying that's necessarily bad. I'm not somebody who's totally against nostalgia bait, but it just felt in this particular case, it wasn't good nostalgia, like the scene with the Titanosaurs and just the beautiful, epic scope of that scene. I didn't know what word I was going to use until I got there. Scope of that scene, and then the music, the John Williams score swelling, that was good nostalgia. Whereas the shot for shot from the first movie was okay. I mean, even at the beginning of the movie where they have the banner fall, they already did that nostalgia in Jurassic World. It's the nostalgia of the nostalgia. So by the time you get to this, it's just so overdone. And again, there were some things that look cool. I liked when the D-Rex was hiding in the clouds and then the helicopter is coming and then all of a sudden it's caught by the D-Rex, but you didn't see it get caught because it's coming out of the clouds. Again, that would be where I like Gareth Edwards' direction, and I liked how that was working and how the visuals played together. But just as a whole, the film wasn't very intense for me. And then in the end, when they're all going away on the boat, what's really interesting about that? They were really trying to replicate that feeling of the end of Jurassic Park, where they're all in the helicopter. Grant looks out the window and sees the birds, and he believes dinosaurs turned into birds, and he's just seen dinosaurs for the first time. And even though they almost ate him, what a beautiful moment to look out and see the birds, Okay, cool, but so now they try to replicate that. Now they're on the boat, and there's dolphins all around, and it's so cool. They made it, they survived. Here's the difference. Jurassic Park 1993, that's where the movie's over. The goal of the movie was survival and get off the island. They survived, and they got off the island. This, they're on the boat, they're going across the water, there's dolphins, it's beautiful, and all I could think is, when are the Spinosaurs going to show up? And then the Mosasaur come and eat them. To me, the movie is not over. It's did you get out of there? Did you get somewhere and call for help? What'd you do? You're going back out into the water, and you almost died there, and that's what started this movie. So there's things like that run through my mind. But now let's take a look at the theological side, and something that is truly butter scraped over too much bread. Is there something deeper that we could take away from this? Honestly, I feel like if you could sum up this movie in one Bible verse, it's 1 Timothy 6:10. And it says this: "For the love of money is the root of all kinds of evil, and some people craving money have wandered from the true faith and pierced themselves with many sorrows." So you have Dr. Henry Loomis, he's our good guy, the nerdy scientist who wants to open source the cure for heart disease. You have Martin Krebs, whatever, I'm gonna call him pharmacy guy, and he wants to make trillions of dollars. He wants to take this cure for heart disease and make it his own. And you have Scarlett Johansson, who's stuck in the middle of all of this. But she has a great character arc, because in the beginning, she does it all for the money. Throughout the film, though, as she gets to know pharmacy guy better, and as she gets to know nerdy scientist better, she begins to love nerdy scientist Hart. So in getting to know the nerdy scientist, she begins to want to be more like him. And her character arc by the movie is she doesn't want to serve money anymore. She doesn't want that to be her master. She wants to open source this so that this one cure could be available for everyone, where then you have pharmacist guy. And it's amazing the lengths that he will go through for his trillions because money is his god. It is the master that he serves, and he hates any other master. And it's really interesting what this love of money drives him to do in the end, because it doesn't not only just pierces him with many sorrows, it pierces him with many teeth. It brings him to his destruction. His love for money, it's interesting. If you take a look at just kind of like this, the nature, when you have a predator hunting and it's coming after a whole herd of animals, what does it like to do? It likes to separate one animal from the herd. If it could get the weakest one, the smallest one, or just anyone away from the herd and alone, it has a higher chance of taking that creature out. This guy's love for money separates him from everybody else, makes enemies of everybody else around him. Well, he ends up separated from the herd on his own. And the funny thing about it is, when he steals that car, like the car alarm is going off and he can't shut it off, and he's driving fast, he's trying to get away from dinosaurs, and because he's distracted, he doesn't have like the rest of the herd with him that could have his back in these weak and vulnerable moments, and maybe even turn off the car alarm for him as he drives them to safety, have somebody yell, "There's a D-Rex up there!" Like all kinds of, no, he was alone and he was weak. And then he ends up driving the car into the foot of the D-Rex, which turns around and eats the guy. Like that love of money and following that master led him to his death, because that's not a good master. That's a master that could have cared less about him. In a sense, it's a very evil master. And he served that master because he liked the broad way. The way that was broad and easy looked fantastic, trillions of dollars. Jesus said, "I am the way, the truth, and the life. No one comes to God except through me." It's a way that is more narrow, but he is the one way and he's available to everyone. And sometimes walking with Jesus requires sacrifice in our life. And that's a tough pill to swallow. It was a tough pill to swallow for Scarlett Johansson's character to give up all of the money she was offered to let, nerdy scientist doctor guy go ahead and open source this cure for heart disease. But it was the one cure that they made available for everybody. And so to me, that's the power of that particular story. Which master will you serve? Will you serve the master of money, who could care nothing for you, or serve Jesus, where he loves you and cares about you? And sometimes in that walk, there is sacrifice, but we see there is life. It is the narrow way, but it leads to life.
Gee, the lack of humility before nature that's being displayed here staggers me.
But if I was to take a look at the franchise as a whole, what is the message behind the franchise? Where the first movie is man tries to play God and control genetics, control nature, and control life itself, and then sell it in an amusement park.
And before you even knew what you had, you patented it and packaged it and slapped it on a plastic lunchbox, and now you're selling it. You want to sell it. Well,
then they're humbled by the end of the movie and try again for 6 more movies till we finally get to this movie. What is it saying? I think it's telling us a truth about humanity. Not only is man not learning their lesson, they're rebelling against the lesson. Humanity is proud and rebellious, and we are rebels who need to lay down our arms. You can't serve 2 masters. You will love one and you will hate the other. And constantly throughout this franchise, people are serving money because of their love for it. We see the evil that love for money produces. We see the fall that pride produces. The lesson is God opposes the proud and he gives grace to the humble. What did you think of this particular movie, Jurassic World Rebirth? Am I off base? Was I a little bit too harsh on this movie? Let's talk about that in the comments. I'm open to that. I'm not trying to change your mind on the movie if you liked it. If you didn't like it and you're like me, let's talk some more about that as well. What did you think of this theological aspect and the lesson of this particular movie, but also the repeated pattern in the entire franchise? Let's talk about it all right now in the comments. I cannot wait to have these conversations with you. I'm Durbin. Thanks for checking out Durbania.